Hello and welcome to the Recon Cast, a regular topic-based podcast show featuring myself and one, if not both of my sisters, Louise and Vanessa, and within which we are going to discuss all sorts of things from games, movies, TV, popular culture, to the sort of silly stuff you might talk about with your mates, like zombies or time travel and such shenanigans. This will usually be recorded once a month and split up into 3 topics and a compilation. So 4 separate videos that will be posted roughly once a week throughout each month. So if that sounds like your sort of thing, then sit back and enjoy. Inspired by films like Suicide Squad, what would our, say, top 5 supervillains be for our own anti-hero team? So what we're going to do is we're going to pick 5 anti-heroes or bad guys, whatever you want to call them, villains. And we're going to build our own little Suicide Squad team. Obviously, Suicide Squad team could have more or less or whatever. You know, I don't know the exact numbers, but we're just going to go with 5 for time's sake. So, shall I go first?
Go for it.
Right, okay. First up, we have Bizarro, which, for those who don't know, is he's like a clone of Superman who went wrong. So he's like Superman, but he's like really dumb and like, you know, he's like white and pasty and he's a bit odd, hence the name Bizarro. The next one I'm going to go for is Poison Ivy, and I'm going to take her because of her ability to manipulate, like any men, basically. Well, she can manipulate plant life, but she can manipulate men as well. So if we come across like someone who, you know, another villain or another hero that's trying to get all up in our grill, she can just like take control of him and then use him for our own ends. Next is Catwoman, because, you know, she's just she's a stealthy, tactical little sneaky bastard who can just get about and, you know, get the lay of the land. You know, you don't have to worry so much about you know, you don't have to worry about her. She's got her own shit covered, and she'll get the job done. She's kind of like a less well-equipped, less morally guided Batman, really, isn't she? And then my next one is Loki, which is the brother of Thor. So he's
that's a bad choice.
No, not really. The problem with the Suicide Squads, all of them, is making them get along. Because they're all, you know, it's going to be an issue. That's why having someone like dumb, like Bizarro, is probably good, because he's easy to like manipulate and stuff. But
dumb muscle, yeah,
and he's really powerful because he's like pretty much as tough as Superman. So, but yeah, Loki's an Asgard, so he's super powerful. He's got all sorts of manipulation abilities, like you know, like he can look like someone else or become invisible. He's got cloak technologies and all sorts of shit like that, so he's super useful and stuff. I think the problem with this is to make all my team so I give them a common goal, so I don't make any of them specifically a leader, but they've all got a common goal. So they all want to pitch in even if they don't really like each other, because that's what you have to do with the Suicide Squad team. And finally, sorry, carry on.
I was just going to say, I was considering Loki, but I think the problem with Loki is that he's too power hungry. He's too. He thinks that like everyone else is beneath him. Of course, but there's levels. There's levels. Do you know what I mean? Like, so a lot of them are like petty thieves and that kind of thing, and just kind of like, you know, going about their own selfish reason to do what they're doing. But I think Loki, he believes that everyone else is. He's like fucking Asgardian, isn't he?
Yeah, but
I think that would be.
Oh, that's
not
is he
technically,
half, or?
but he was raised. No,
yeah,
he was like
raised that way.
He was adopted, basically, in layman's terms and stuff.
Right.
I reckon he'd be too selfish.
I can't remember. It's the first one, isn't it? Like they're from the Bifrost or something. I don't know.
Yeah, he's like one of them big blue
giants.
things.
Yeah, I don't know why he's not blue and they are. I don't. Who knows? I'm sure there's some.
He's an
lore
illusionist, though.
Yeah, I'm not a big Marvel lore guy, especially Thor.
No.
Like, not many people care about Thor that much, really, if we're being honest.
I do.
Well, handsome.
You only care because he looks. He's Chris fucking Hemsworth. If he looked like fucking Potato Face Man, you'd be like, oh, whatever. Fuck
Although
Thor.
I'm disappointed that like my Thor is now in that new Ghostbusters movies. I'm sure that's a completely different like topic to speak about, but disappointed.
Yeah,
Disappointed.
that's
Who
gonna
is
be
Carry
he
on.
in Ghostbusters?
dreadful.
Some stupid like
He's like the
like you know
Elaine,
the
the
receptionist.
receptionist.
Yeah, in the first one he's like the the male version because they're all swapping sexes and shit.
Yeah, that's less great.
Yeah, that game's. I mean, that film's gonna be dreadful. And people like, there's loads of people crying about it because there's like the women leads. That's not the reason why this film is gonna be dreadful. It's gonna be dreadful because it looks like a lowest common denominator, fucking, Ride Along or 21 Jump Street, and that's fine for that sort of film. But this is Ghostbusters. This is
Classic. It's a classic.
This is just a terrible direction. Anyway, completely off topic.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, I think the problem... Right, Poison Ivy. She's going to want to think she's in charge. She's definitely going to think she's superior to any man. Catwoman, she's not per se going to want to lead the team, but she's not a team player. She's going to be like, I'm going to do my thing. She ain't going to
let anyone tell her what to do.
Yeah, exactly. Loki's going to have delusions of grandeur, but he always does. And that's the point of getting them all to, be on the team. And plus, I think if anyone's probably going to have control of the team, it'll be Poison Ivy, because she'll control Bizarro, who's the powerhouse.
Who's your number 5?
That's what I was going to say.
Did you say?
Just for the lols and to throw the cat amongst the pigeons, I'm having Joker, because he's gonna because I want someone who's just gonna wreck shop and
he's gonna fuck things up,
have some fun. So,
to be fair, if they all got along and they all did their jobs, then it wouldn't be Suicide Squad. It'd be Justice League.
Yeah, exactly. So we're not picking good. We're not picking good guys here.
You want chaos?
Yeah, you want people who are willing to do the job that a Justice League isn't. That's the whole point, isn't it? Otherwise, they're just phoning up Justice League or Batman or Superman or whoever. But I would specifically go for the cartoon version of Joker from I forget what the original cartoon. I think is it Batman and Robin, or I forget what it's called. Do you know the one I'm talking about? Like the old, it's got like a 1920s sort of vibe, aesthetic. The sort of Art Deco theme. The 90s cartoon, the late 90s cartoon. Yeah. I forget what it's called.
I think so. There's been quite a lot.
But even if you take the future ones, like the Justice League cartoons or whatever, not the recent ones, but the ones a few years back, that sort of, he's less stabby, blood, murder, cut, kill.
Yeah.
And more sort of like, whatever, I'm a maniac, I'm just going to shoot a rocket launcher into this building and see what happens. That sort of thing.
Actually, it'll just do it in a funny way. When it explodes, it'll be filled with used condoms, whatever.
Yeah.
It'll be something stupid.
Maybe not that, because that's gross.
There's a bit more tact than that.
And who has a warehouse full of
soup,
used
for
condoms?
God's sakes.
Things aren't necessarily deadly, but like the Smilex gas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like he hatched a plan to make everybody like grow those freaky smiles.
Exactly. Just like, he's
Stupid.
a problem, he's
Crazy.
nuts, and like he's dangerous and a killer, but I'm not talking about like what the new Suicide Squad Joker's looks like, where he's like a pain merchant who would be happy to sit and like pull your skin off bit by bit. You're
on about the one that like tells you to smell his flower and actually it's knocking out gas.
Yeah. He's just like, and he wants to just fuck shit up for the lols. That's the sort of Joker I want on my team.
He's based on a clown, isn't he?
I don't know. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, he's a clown.
Of course
totally.
he is.
Yeah, I suppose so. He's become a lot more than that, though. Maybe he was originally back in like the, I don't know, when Batman was 50s or 60s. You'd imagine. So, but yeah. Anyway, so that's my team. If people have any thoughts about it, they can say so. Otherwise, if they want to discuss their team.
The only thing is, I strongly against Loki. I reckon he'll just piss off and do his own thing, and just try and escape.
I don't see how any of them wouldn't want to just go and do their own thing. Then none of them are going to be good bedfellows, apart from Bizarro, because he's easily manipulated.
I just think he's too clever.
So he's not cleverer than Catwoman or Poison Ivy. They're all the same intelligence level.
Nah.
So I think it's just about, it's my job then as their quote unquote leader, or whatever you want to call government stooge, to give them a common goal. That's my job,
Yeah.
So I have to give them an enemy that they all hate. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, and all that bullshit.
Yeah. I guess so.
But that's gonna be the same with anyone's team. Anyway, who wants to go next?
I'll go if you want.
Go for it.
We've got a couple of crossovers, I reckon. I chose for a start
It doesn't
Poison
matter.
Ivy.
Yeah.
Poison Ivy as well. Basically for the same reasons. That she can manipulate men and that sort of thing. To manipulate plants and that kind of thing is also really useful.
Yeah.
But she's also, when needs must, she does kind of help out. Like in some of the games.
She's also immune to pretty much all poisons. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Even the Scarecrow's
that's a really,
poison.
really good point. That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah. Now, I technically have got 6, but only because of this one reason.
What?
My next person is Bane, but only if it's the Bane from the old school movies. Like the one with Dr. Freeze and that kind of stuff in.
The movies,
like
the
Batman
terrible
Forever.
movies.
They're not terrible.
They
But
are
the point is,
fucking dreadful. The first two.
You're fucking
the
dreadful.
first two are alright. Batman Forever and I don't even know what the other one's called. The Dr. Freeze one. Fucking dreadful.
Batman and Robin.
Is that what it's called? Dreadful.
Maybe.
That's the Riddler, I think.
Dreadful.
Isn't it? Oh, maybe you're right. Yeah, it's quite cool.
Regardless, I am not commenting on the standards of the film. I'm just simply saying that I am only having him on my team if he's basically Poison Ivy's bitch. If he's the one from, The Dark Knight?
Yeah.
Then I don't want him. Even though,
Because he sounds quite stupid.
He does.
hello, Batman. That's not what I was expecting. But yeah, he's brawn and he'll pretty much just do whatever you want. Again, I guess it's kind of like your Bizarro. He's just kind of just mindless and.
I think it depends,
brawn
like
a
you're
bit.
saying. I think there are some where he's a little bit more intelligent and eloquent, and then there's other ones where he is literally just a dumb muscle machine. He
It's literally like they've gone on both spectrums.
he's like Hulk smash,
They're like
basically.
complete opposite. Yeah. If not, he'd be gone.
But why is that a 2 for 1? I don't understand.
Because if he's like the smart one, then I don't want him on my team. I'd pick someone else.
Well, you gotta pick some. What?
Basically.
Well, you just pick the one you want. Because I picked the Joker I wanted, so just pick the.
Alright, okay, fine. The old school Bane.
Okay. Cool.
Old school Bane. I'll have him on my team. I have made a boo-boo as well. If he's talking about DC, I've kind of done a crossover of Marvel.
No,
It doesn't have to be.
I've
at
got
all, just
Loki
villains.
in there. I think he's my only.
Oh,
no,
yeah,
and
shit,
Bizarro.
yeah.
They're both
Okay.
Marvel. No, they're not. Loki's
not.
Loki's
Bizarro's
the.
DC.
Yeah, I know.
Marvel's DC.
I know. I spoke
Marvel's DC,
before I
Bizarro's
thought.
DC.
Don't tell me either of you haven't done that before, because I know different. Yeah,
Huh.
Loki's Marvel, so it's not
Um,
about that.
I'd probably then go for Mystique
Really?
with. Why the hell
Vanessa's
not?
stolen all of mine.
That's shit.
Loads of mine. It
Okay,
doesn't matter. It's not a competition. That means that great minds think alike.
Yeah, exactly.
we
also
are
chose,
like a really good. Go on.
I also chose Bane and Mystique.
Really?
Did you really?
That's odd.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought either of you would think
That's pretty cool.
pick those characters.
I
but-
wanted some dumb muscle. For
Yeah,
Bane.
Yeah.
you need a bit
Exactly
of dumb
like
muscle.
Vanessa's saying.
Mm.
And Mystique, she's basically a spy. She's awesome.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
awesome. Like, she's skilled, she's great in martial arts and that
She's
kind of
smart.
stuff. She can look like anyone.
So can
yeah,
Loki.
She's witty and smart as well. Huh?
So can Loki, except he has the powers
Yeah.
of a
but-
god, and he can cloak himself. He's way superior to Mystique. Mystique, she's
He's not.
yeah, he is.
Like,
It's not
my-
a
I
competition.
think- Okay, my
Maybe she's got someone
Suicide
else to
Squad.
fulfill other roles.
Mm.
Yeah, my Suicide Squad is the kind of like no one that's because like I think my thing with Loki is that he's like highborn, high adopted.
He's pretentious,
what I mean?
definitely.
Like-
That's a problem with him.
He is
But
a god.
he's
He's
from
a Norse
he's,
god.
he's a god.
Mm.
He's like born into royalty or
Yeah.
whatever.
I think
wherever he's
royalty's more
from.
apt
He
because
was
God
raised as royalty.
because they just call
And that's where I
themselves
think his
gods, but
problem is.
it's essentially just a form of technology to us that they use to be what they are.
Yeah, but that's where I think that I'd prefer Mystique. She's commoner. Do you know what I mean? She's
not got
seen. She's
ideas
gone through-
above a station.
She's
you
She's
seen
more-
things, man.
She's more professional.
Mm.
Yeah, I think,
But
you know,
she's
instead of,
also
like, she's logical and realistic.
She's also like just her power, her strength. I mean, don't get me wrong. She can kick ass. She can do all gymnastics and everything. Like, you know, not someone you want to pick a fight with, but her skill set for me isn't quite on par in the same sense as Loki. It's just controlling Loki that's the issue.
Yeah, but it's the entire team dynamic that matters. So
yeah. All right, whatever. Carry
on. Number 4, I'd go for Deathstroke. I reckon. He's awesome. He's really strong as well, but he's also clever.
Deathstroke.
He's quite clever.
Are we talking about the same person? Deathstroke is Slade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slade from Teen Titans.
God damn
it's
it.
the same thing.
Just you can leave me out.
Have you basically done her entire list?
No, I've got two alternatives.
Right.
Probably, as long as she doesn't have any more to say. But
I've literally got 4 of your 5.
3.
Poison Ivy, Bane, Mystique, and Deathstroke.
I haven't got Poison Ivy. But to be fair, that just means we're very smart.
Of course. I'll take that.
Well, you can talk about why you picked him if you want afterwards. So.
It's pretty much the same reason. Slade, he's a madman, and he'd essentially lead the team.
Yeah, he's quite.
Yeah.
He's like a poor man's Batman, really, isn't he?
No. I reckon. Nah.
Yeah, he is. Batman always kicks his ass. Always.
He is a master manipulator. Slade is.
Yeah, but yes.
I've also seen him in.
He has
against the Teen Titans, maybe, but not against Batman.
One of his powers is that basically the genetic tests done on him meant that he can use 90% of his brain function.
Yeah,
we can't be that smart.
Compared to the 10%.
Because
compared to the 10% that most humans can. Stop being petty. You're spoiling.
I know, right?
Sorry, I'm just saying, Batman. You know, kicks his ass.
Yeah, he's a goodie.
Crawl out of his ass.
In both Arkham Knight and Origins, he gets a whooping. So.
I've seen he's like a super.
No, he is. He's weirdly more like psychological in that than he is in, you know, some of the
I've
Batman
seen
stuff.
him in Arrow as well. He's in Arrow a lot. He's like quite massive in Arrow. I don't know how many more times I want to say Arrow. Arrow.
Do you like Arrow? I've never watched an episode of Arrow. I think it's got arrows in it, right?
Arrow's really good. Arrow.
It's about an arrow, right?
Yeah.
It's about the life of an arrow, like in how his.
Yeah, there's this guy called Arrow who uses arrows to do things with arrows, and the arrows kind of hurt people.
But it's Inception because he actually finds out that he is a living arrow. So
it's just one giant arrow. Arrow. Anyway, I've seen him a lot in that program.
That show.
That show
that has projectile weaponry in it.
And he's awesome. Like he's like been like stranded on this island for like years, along with Oliver Queen and stuff. So not only is like he clever and strong because of this thing, he's also good at like surviving and that kind of thing. Which I think is, for whatever reason, if they were stranded on an island, they'd be fine, wouldn't they? So I think he's a man of many skills. And then my last one is Talia al Ghul.
Oh yeah.
Which is Ra's al Ghul's daughter. I think she would be similar to your Catwoman. She's sneaky. Yeah. She gets in place, and she's an assassin, isn't she?
I think the difference is
not be seen and heard.
I think the difference is Catwoman's more like she's in the shadows, whereas Ra's al Ghul is a stealth assassin in plain sight. Not Ra's al Ghul, sorry. What's her first name?
Talia
al Ghul is like an assassin in plain sight. So she sort of blends in and then assassinates.
Betrays weakness and then he's actually...
Yes, but my point is, if like, you know, for instance, on the sense of that, you know, Catwoman's a burglar, if she needs to get in somewhere, she's got the skills to do that. You know, she's quiet, she's sneaky and stuff. But yeah,
I think they're probably two sides of the same coin, really. You know, they do this. They do the same thing, but from very.
She's much like her father.
Yeah, they do the same thing from different
she's got
directions.
More like humanity, though.
I'd say their political ambitions are quite different because Catwoman doesn't really have any, but you know.
She just likes shiny things.
Yeah, and like, you know,
pissing people off.
Yeah,
and stuff.
fucking about and wrecking shop.
Black rubber.
Yeah, wow. That's something we can all get behind. Okay, let's hear Louise's one character that she's probably got left.
Two.
Oh,
Got two.
cool, blimey.
Vanessa,
The mercy.
I'm sick of his attitude during this conversation. What I propose is this. Seeing as we already have mostly the same team members, I suggest we fuse ours into one super suicide squad.
That's cheating. You only allowed 5 characters.
No.
Cheating.
There's no rules.
There's no rules then. All right then. I'll put all my secondary characters that I haven't brought in into my suicide squad, shall I?
We still kick your ass.
Anyway, we've clearly thought alike, so I'll crack on.
Go on then.
I looked through my bumper book of DC, and there's some good choices in there. There's some fine choices. Captain Nazi.
You're going to pick Captain Nazi as on your team?
No. I was just saying he's an honourable mention.
Dishonourable mention.
A bit too evil.
Yeah.
Okay then. On the God theme, I've got a Wonder Woman villain.
Oh yeah.
Ares, God of War.
Oh right, yeah. I've seen a few things about her and stuff.
I figure he'd be a good man to have on your side.
Oh, is it a dude? I thought there's a woman version. Isn't there?
No, he's a man.
Oh, right, okay. What's his powers? It's set. Is it like Wonder Woman?
No.
It's like a Spartan.
I don't know. It just depends. He's a Greek god.
Right.
War is his thing. I don't know exactly what he uses, but like in some of them, I think he can do things like summon like old warriors from
Bygone era.
well, great war heroes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
To use. He's just kick-ass. He can influence the tides of war. He's a good man to have in a fight.
Yeah. He's another one that would be difficult to handle, but yeah.
Certainly. I think he'd probably want to be the leader. One other is Blackfire, who is Starfire's sister.
Yeah.
But she's evil.
Yeah.
And she's got all pretty much the same powers as Starfire.
What are her intentions, though? What does she want? What's
she's just greedy.
Motivate? Is it just greedy? Yeah. Oh, that's alright. Then you
yeah,
can just bribe her.
And jealous of her sister.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
She'd work well with Deathstroke, probably.
Yeah, she absorbs solar energy and converts it into lasers that she can shoot from her eyes and hands.
That's cool.
She can fly.
That's very much the Superman sort of shtick, isn't it? That the yellow sun and all that.
That Ares is also.
She's really strong.
That Ares is good. He can do necromancy, weather manipulation. He can completely command over any weapon. I reckon he's got a good couple of them.
I think there was something like he can summon like people from past wars, or maybe it's like the losers of old wars. He can like use them like dead soldiers and stuff.
Yeah, that'd make sense.
Jason and the Argonauts and your skeletal warriors, that kind of thing.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Malevolent psychic energy.
I think we've all got a solid team there. I think probably from that you could whittle it down and make an even more perfect team. But I think putting them into a film would be difficult. But I think just in the concept of like who you'd like to have working for you and stuff. I think everyone that you put in a Suicide Squad, hence the name, is going to have teething problems. You're going to struggle to get them to do the things that you want them to do. But
it's not the happy friends do good things squad, is it?
No, but
the super best friend squad.
Exactly.
BFFs.
Yeah, I've got some spares that I set aside. Lex Luthor, Ra's al Ghul, who is Talia's father and Batman, one of Batman's main mentors, even though he's a bad guy. Juggernaut, Venom from Spider-Man, Deathstroke, which you guys had already said, and Scarecrow. So they're my secondary, like B squad or whatever. I set aside as spares. So there's some solid people in there. Well, Ra's al Ghul, he can do anything that Talia can do, if not better. And apart from perhaps the manipulation, and he's basically going to have a similar skill set to Batman. So Juggernaut, dumb muscle, but it's like we were discussing before. what's his face ruined it. I can't remember. Well, I forgot his name now.
Vinny. Good old Vinny.
Yeah, what's
Mr. Jones.
Yeah, Vinny Jones. Yeah, he kind of ruined him for me. So, yeah, that's why he didn't go. Venom's cool. He's quite an interest. He's quite bison, but I don't know. I just think others.
You couldn't control him.
Stuff.
You could not control
Venom. You can actually. He's good in some occasions. Not good. Maybe that's a little bit too generous, but yeah, he works with good guys at times. So he if there's a common goal.
It depends. It depends who wears the symbiote as to what Venom behaves like.
Well, I'm thinking Eddie Brock.
He's not the man.
I think it's the guy, is it?
Yeah.
Because he's a bit of a douche, but he's not a bad guy. So he's usually all right when he's Eddie Brock, the Venom symbiote. So yeah, Deathstroke again, and we discussed that, and Scarecrow because he can like fucking get in people's heads and shit. So yeah, solid, even a solid B team there.
Fine choices.
So yeah, they're our Suicide Squad. I don't know how you make a film with some of these characters because it would be expensive, but yeah, when we rule the world, these are going to be our minions that we do it with. So just so you know, giving everybody a heads up.
I'm not doing it with them. That's not part of the contract.
What? Ruling the world?
Should do it for free.
I'd do it with Catwoman and fucking Poison Ivy. We don't even need to rule the world. I'll just. You know.
Yeah, the problem is, Nathan, they ain't going to do it.
That's not going to go so well for you, I think.
Yeah, probably not. But I mean, if you're going to go, what a way to go. Topic 2. What are your opinions on free-to-play games? Do you play them? Do you think they're good for the industry, bad, or it just depends on a case-by-case basis? So, what do you guys think about them? Have you played many free-to-play games? I personally haven't played many free-to-play games, but I've played a couple, so I have a vague idea of things.
I guess I've played quite a few. Probably nothing any serious or anything. But yeah, well, I say probably. I've definitely played quite a few.
In terms of like, that's in terms of like mobile games. Hang on, I have played a couple of mobile
free-to-play games doesn't just mean freeloading and borrowing them off us.
You're funny.
You got burnt there. Burn.
That's a whip.
Well, maybe the pain burn.
Different sayings, Nathan.
I set the whip on fire. Did you think about that? Did you visualise that?
No, because that's stupid.
Yeah, maybe. But it still happened. In my mind.
In your head. Yeah, that's pretty much how everything happens. All your friends.
I think up these amazing ideas and then I bring them to life. You're right. Yeah, that's how things happen. Agreed. Anyway, moving on.
I think possibly we're missing somebody to talk about this, which would be someone who is younger and doesn't have very much money.
Probably, but none of us are fucking rolling in it, are we? So it's not like...
No, that's true, but if you've unlimited cash, they're probably a lot better.
Yeah.
But I've never played one that I've stuck to for more than
I've only fucked around with them. I've never
played one that I've thought, wow, this is brilliant. And I think that they wouldn't be free if they were amazing.
I think there are a couple, but I think they're very specific to a couple of genres. Like that Warframe's supposed to be really good, but it's like a weird action, third-person sort of multiplayer combat thing, and I'm not really. That doesn't speak to me as a game. But if you're into that sort of game, I'd imagine that would blow your mind. And then there's some other ones like Worlds of. I always get these ones confused because there's one that's paid for and one that isn't. But there's like World of Tanks and then World of Warplanes. There's one's free and one's. I get them confused. Anyway, but if you're into that sort of game as well, if you're into that sort of like World War II / simmy sort of battle thing, then yeah, it blows your mind, I suppose. But I think the thing is with them is
never made one for me.
No, but I'd be open to it. But I think the problem is I always like the sort of quip that people say. It's like fee to pay. You know, taking the R out, you know, because it is not free because you're probably going to buy shit for it to sort of balance you with the other players. And then it's a case of like, I don't want to keep shilling out money I just want, here, take my fucking money, job done. We've made our transaction. I have the game. I'll play it.
That's one of the things that, well, I say that, but basically I didn't have a problem with that because I've got an app on my phone called Google Rewards. You literally every now and then, a few times a month, they'll pop up with surveys and stuff, just about where you've been and just random crap. And they'll give you money for it that you can spend on like the Play Store.
Yeah, but doesn't that mean that you're going to get like spam all the time?
No, you don't get spam at all. You don't have to sign up any emails, nothing. Literally, you get this thing come up on your phone.
Do they have your phone number or anything?
No, it's just an app. Like Facebook or Twitter or whatever. It's just an app. And it'll pop up every now and then saying we've got a new survey. You do it. So sometimes it's only
you say
6p,
it's just an app,
sometimes
though.
it's 20, 30.
But some of the apps I get on my phone are like, do you want to sign away your life for this app? Do you want me to...
No, the only thing it needs is your location. So
do you give me permission to check your porn cookies? It's like, what? No. You're just a fucking, I don't know, fucking doodle app. Go away. Why do you want to look at this shit? Why do you want access to my camera to watch me? It's fucked up.
Like, I used to be alright about it and stuff because if I found a game I liked and I wanted to spend the money on it, then I'd just use that. However, quite a few of them now have actually clicked onto that. And I presume they have, because now a lot of them don't actually accept the Google Play credits.
Yeah.
For like in-app purchases, just the actual app games themselves or songs and that kind of stuff, which I found a bit of a bitch. Free-to-play games, yeah, they're great, they pass time and stuff, but I think one of the downfalls is they can be quite addictive. Like,
here's the thing: do you play a bunch of them on mobile and shit? Do you ever buy any of the stuff, or do you just grind?
Sometimes I do. Sometimes if it's like right at the start and it's like, I don't know, like 99p or 199 or something like that.
How much would you spend though if you ever spent, say, the equivalent to like a full-fledged retail game? Even if it's like a B tier retail game, like 30 quid or 20 quid.
Nah, God no. No, definitely not. Definitely not. I just think it's ridiculous. It's a game that's on your phone. It's not even high quality. And quite a lot of the games that I, play are just shit.
Yeah.
I've got one called like My Singing Monsters and like Cubits and stupid shit like that. And Sims Free Play or whatever it's called. So, no. It's just a waste of money. I'd rather have a game on my PlayStation, put some money into that I can, take some more tact than just pressing a few buttons.
I don't mind it being a mobile game. Personally, for me, a mobile doesn't particularly equate to that much, because I'm not always out, fucking doing shit. But I get for someone who's out all the time, like waiting for buses, God knows how long. So there's nothing against mobile games here, but I think there are some really good free-to-play titles. The problem I have with it is that a lot of these games are designed around catching a whale, as they call it, which is basically everybody's like you, either plays it and grinds or puts a few pounds in, or dollars, whatever your currency is, and then but the way they make their money is the hundreds or thousands of pounds they make off like one or two of individuals out of say 1,000 or something.
It's crazy. Some of the packs, like the currency packs and that kind of thing, they're like £80, £90, going up to £100 and stuff. People do this shit. Like, Mum, I'm sure one of Mum's friends used to be quite into that sort of thing. She used to spend hella money on it, like ridiculous amounts. Like, do you know what I mean? But that's how they do it. They find, they get them few customers, so to speak. But I normally get bored of the games. Like, eventually. Do you know what I mean?
They design them to be almost like gambling games, to sort of like be addictive, So they'll give and they'll take. They'll give you some wins, and then they'll take. The house always wins with those sorts of games, which is what kind of worries me. And if they design those games specifically to do that, it's less about chance and more about the way they design those games. Then, But it's like I'm saying, it really depends on the developers. Some free-to-play games, like you're saying, are great, and for like kids who don't have a lot of money, they're cool if that game speaks to them. But with that same respect, it's like, I don't want a game to be designed around this pay scheme just to capture these whales, because for me it detracts from the game and totally turns me off any game that might have caught my interest, personally.
It makes me sad as well. It kind of encourages more people to do this lazy kind of programming. And the more popular they become, the more clones you get, and
that's the problem. There's so many clones, isn't there? There's like one on the television at the moment, like loads of adverts and shit. What it's like, Clash of Kings, is it? something.
Yeah.
It's totally
That
a Clash of
reminds me
Clans
of
rip-off.
something. That sounds, familiar.
Yeah. It's
but
they'll probably get people hopping onto it who are like sort of maybe bored of Clash of Clans or whatever because of because they it soaks into them from all these adverts and stuff, and
until the point
those
where
ones
they realise that they're just playing this exact same game again.
same game pretty much. Yeah, I mean there probably is some minor differences, but I don't see how they're much different. So it's a worry that you get clones, and I've also heard the argument with this sort of thing. It's sort of like a race to the bottom where everybody's looking to undercut everybody else in terms of like price or the way their monetization happens. So because of that, like everything rushes towards the bottom, and then it's like that whole fucking all of like Android and the App Store and all that sort of shit. They're all fucking inundated with these shit games that are just like rushing to the bottom to make it try and be free to play, and then have their system so they can sort of milk these cows, and it's like counterintuitive and stuff. It's I feel that it hurts. It kind of hurts mobile gaming as a whole, and like I think you'll find free to play games on things like Steam. Perhaps Steam's not the best choice, but on stores that are more curated, like on Xbox and PlayStation, the free to play games tend to be a lot better, and they have they're real
got
games.
More substance, certainly, haven't they?
They're like real games, even if they're B tier games and not necessarily classed as AAA. They're still real games, and there's substance there, even if that game per se doesn't speak to you. So I think there's good games there. I mean, like I'm saying, I don't have a huge amount of experience with them, so So what sort of games have you been playing? Is it all like Candy Crush sort of stuff?
No, I cannot. I was gonna say I can honestly say I've never downloaded it, which is true on my phone. Had it on my laptop once, but I refuse to dive into that bullshit. I like kind of ones where I have to use my brain, which you might find hard to believe.
Surprising, yeah.
Yeah, it'd come in handy sooner or later.
No, it's so funny, guys. Just having
So
back,
it's
guys.
So what, like Sudoku sort of styley things, or
there's one called Threes,
Professor
for
Layton
instance.
things, stuff like that.
It's called Threes. It's probably one of my favourite ones. That I've always kept on my phone. It's basically a board with, I think it's like 4x6 or something like that, or 6x6, and you basically get random numbers come through, either 1, 2, or a 3, and you basically have to put them together and make multiples of 3. So you put 3 and 3 and 6, then you put 2 6 together to make 12, 2 12 together to make 24. And you try and get the biggest and biggest number, but obviously the board eventually fills up. So it's you have to move them around in the right places and that kind of stuff. That's always been quite a good favourite.
I think that does sound a bit like Sudoku, doesn't it?
It's
similar element, isn't it? The puzzle.
Yeah, similar element with the numbers and all that kind of stuff. But it's quite good, to be honest. What else have I got on my phone?
One of the only ones that I've really given a good go to was Asphalt. I think 8 or 7 or 8. I think it's the newest one, 8. And that's just because like I got my new phone like a while ago, and then it was like I wanted to test the power of it in sort of gaming aspects, and so I gave that a blaze. And although the controls were a little bit weird, weirdly enough, I found the best way to play it was like motion controls, so sort of like tilting the thing like it's a steering wheel, which was fucking
I can't deal with
weird.
the on-screen buttons, like the whole analog thing. I can't do that.
It's an issue. It is an issue. Like that's the biggest problem probably with touchscreens, is they don't feel tactile and well when you're playing these sorts of games.
That's the problem. Like that's probably one of the reasons why I don't go for like serious games, I guess, or like proper games. Yeah, because everyone will agree screw it. Everyone will agree who's into gaming and stuff. It's so important, the feel of the pad. Yeah. Like, when you change from console to console or something like that,
you want it to be responsive at the very least.
Yeah. Oh yeah. My God, definitely. But to hold a phone in your hand and try and
the iPad too. I've played some games with my boss at work, and they've got like a kind of D-pad on the screen,
Yeah,
but
they never
it
work right.
feels very clunky if you're used to something like a control pad that's made to be just right for your hands.
Also, with obviously like the sensitivity as well. Like obviously, like some of the trigger buttons as well on a game, they're like uber sensitive, where like you haven't got that kind of crap.
No.
Really on the phone, have you?
It is,
I'd
you
much
know.
prefer sit in front of my, you know.
It is a barrier
big
to
telly
in your easy
compared to a
chair
phone. Yeah.
But you say that, but I bet
you can't imagine committing like, oh, I'll sit down
Yeah.
for 3 hours and play on my phone.
you've got to think though. It's kind of like
no.
kids who've not known any better, who've only ever really had that. It's second nature to them. You know, they might not have. They might because they're more expensive. The consoles. Well, you're going to be given a phone by your parents, whereas consoles, like, you know, depending on what point in their life cycle, can be like, you know, £300, £400, £500. You know, so so there is a barrier to entry there, where I'm sure that they get a lot. You know, I'm sure there's kids that will grow up and be like not really that bothered about it, but I think for a lot of people, it's an issue. You know, for them.
Nah, I'm not gonna, you know.
Don't you think it excuses it? No?
Influence that. I'm not going to influence that. But also, just for the point of bloody eyesight, for God's sake. No, that shit ain't good for you.
It's weird. It's weird when you're using the tilt controls in like the driving pit, because you're tilting the fucking screen, and that's really odd. Do you know what I mean? And it can't balance. It can't balance the screen or whatever, because then suddenly parts of the screen will be. Do you know what I mean? It can't like motion track it or whatever. They'll be obscured.
Excuse me. I had like an iPhone 3 or whatever it was back in the day. When I was like 18 or something. And I was like, it was the best phone I'd had to date. So I was obsessed with it, and I was reading loads on it and playing loads of games like constantly. And literally I had to put a ban on myself because I was giving myself such bad eye strain that I was constantly suffering with like headaches.
I thought you were going to say constipation then.
I just held it in, you know, it's too addicted. No, and like neck ache and stuff. Like I had to just go cold turkey for a while and stuff.
The reason that I just left it behind was because this thing was such a fucking power hog on my battery, because it was like it's really good graphics for a phone game. It's like a Virgin on PS3 graphics, like it's up there. But it fucking just drained the life out of my battery. Seriously, within like 40 minutes, my battery was probably nearly, 20%, maybe less. So, and that's from like a full battery almost. So,
mine gets worrying because mine gets really hot as well.
Yeah. That's the CPU and shit. Fucking,
Yeah, but that don't feel right. Like, it doesn't make me feel comfortable to carry on playing when it's like burning my hand.
Yeah, you worry about it, don't you? Like how they, because like a PC's a lot different. Like they've got fans to push all this stuff out. There's no fans. It's like passive cooling, so you worry about how all the heat gets out. And but I suppose it'd turn itself off if there was an issue, and they have fail safes for that. But yeah, anyway, so I think the point is with free to play games, I'd say it's dependent on the game, but I'd say as a trend more so at the moment, I think it's not good as a whole. I think there's more bad than there is good. Let's put it that way. I would say personally.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like I think the platform as well, the way you play it, like phone, they're worse on phone, and they're better usually on more hardcore, if you will, like systems. Platforms. PC is probably not the best example, but consoles definitely more so. But
they're great for passing time.
I think one day it will level itself out where people get sick of the way that the monetization's done on these free to play games. It passes like almost like a fad, and then maybe like 10-15 years from now someone will re-explore it and make it really work and make them truly beneficial, as opposed to a race to the bottom financially and just trying to milk these fucking whales who are out of their mind spending thousands and thousands of pounds on like fucking Clash of Clans or whatever the hell it is, what I mean? If you were to build your ultimate game based upon pieces of other games, i.e. story from one game and gameplay from another, what games spring to mind that you would take inspiration from? Now, I will start if people's wants, just to get things crack-a-lacking or juices flowing. If you haven't thought of any ideas yourselves, you can just sort of pick apart mine, or, you know, copy and paste your own into it. So first off, I'm thinking story from The Last of Us, because that is where that game excels. It's story. That's what makes that game great. Personally, for me, I'm a little underwhelmed with it, because the story is amazing. That's the thing that takes it from a good game to a great game. It is definitely a thing that every other game should take note. Oh, story should be brought up to this level. However, I think in gameplay terms, personally for me, it was a little bit lacking, and the pacing's a bit weird. I'm just not used to that sort of pacing.
It's a little repetitive.
It's like there's really weird, like, quiet spots, if you know what I mean, and maybe that makes sense to be like sort of atmospheric, but it's like there are periods where nothing's going on, and I'm almost bored.
It would have made a fantastic film.
Yeah, it will make.
Yeah,
they're going to make it a film probably, and everybody's like championing that game as, oh, The Last of Us, like everything should be like The Last of Us. I think the only thing everybody should take from The Last of Us is the story. I think in gameplay terms, they could really pull the gameplay up, because for me the gameplay is okay, it's good, it's average to be fair, but the story, when you combine it, which is like brilliant, one of the best, possibly one of the best stories ever, you know, it's up there in the top.
The concept's great,
top 3
as well.
or something.
The creatures that they made.
Their spin on zombies as well. It's definitely was a refreshing thing. So you didn't feel tired of the whole zombie nonsense, which is easy to do in other games.
Kind of irrelevant and off topic, but like one of the cool things I found about it was that actually one of the programs on Cartoon Network, like I don't know if people in America know about that.
Of course they know about it.
I don't know. It's like
from.
It's from there.
Never mind that. Let's pretend I didn't say that. But anyway, like one of the programs on Cartoon Network, the like World of Gumball or something. It's makes a clicker reference.
Oh, does it?
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was watching it the other day. I was just like, no way.
There's a game recently that was kind of using clickers. I forget what it was, and yeah, it just seemed like a straight rip-off from The Last of Us. But you know, it's a good idea. It's very atmospheric. You hear that clicker, and instantly that like pang of dread is. You know,
have I got any shivs?
It's about, but yeah. So yeah, I think the story on that is great, but personally for me, I know I'm probably going to get lambasted for this, but the gameplay, I really hope they improve that for the next Last of Us. Personally, gameplay terms, this might sort of people might be like, oh, you're going to say that gameplay's not great, and then you move on to this. But for me, Resident Evil 4, the way it felt, I mean, now to modern standards, it's a little bit clunky, to be fair, because the control scheme's not right. Maybe the remaster will help with that going into the future, so we'll see how that goes. But for me, the way Resident Evil felt and played, and even the atmosphere to a degree, you know, I feel that's the gameplay. Like I played it again recently, and it just pulled me back in. I thought I wasn't going to be able to get over the clunky controls, but after about 40 minutes, I forgot about the controls and just got into the gameplay loop of the game. I think in terms of third-person shooters, like that for me is probably my favourite third-person shooter ever. So, from that extent for gameplay,
I think that game is terrifying the first time you play it.
Yeah, it's
when you
perhaps
first
not
see
the
the
scariest,
thinking,
but
it's the beginning,
chainsaw man,
village,
the
and you're like,
chainsaw
oh
man.
my God, I don't know how to deal with this many enemies all at once. I've been playing for 12 minutes.
It's a steep learning curve, isn't it, when you hit the village and you think, oh, how am I going to get past this? Or, you know, normally when a steep learning curve happens, you're like, oh, this just becomes frustrating. But for some reason in the village, it doesn't feel frustrating. You just sort of
I think you feel absolutely empowered as well after you crack it.
And yeah, once you've done it, you're like, fuck yeah. I blasted that fool with my shotgun. I figured out, you know, this is the place to make my Alamo and hold off and stuff. And, you know, kick the fools off the ladders and shit. That's, you know.
Yeah.
So it's super, yeah. So there is an empowerment once you get past that bit. In terms of environment, I went from, or you could say world, if you will, like, you know, the map. I went from Fallout 3, because that's the best thing about those games for me, without a doubt, is exploring those worlds. The gameplay is a little bit janky. It's a Bethesda game, so there's glitches galore. The story is, although good, usually ends up wishy-washy by the end. So it has its flaws, but the world is the thing that makes those games amazing. And so if you could take a world similar to that and bring it into, you know, your perfect game, douchey air quotes, then I think that would be the thing to do. And then in terms of like our mechanics, I'd have like RPG mechanics from, say, Final Fantasy VII, like sort of similar to the materia system, but now as it's a Resident Evil 4 based game, it would be like an action RPG. So that would be like the level progression and stuff.
Before even the fight, you have to strategize with your setup, and that's part of what makes that excellent. You're thinking even before the fight ever begins.
Yeah, you're like preempting. Oh, I'm going into this area, so what materia do I want to put on here? You know,
like the Art of War, you're setting up your battlefield before you ever enter it.
Yeah. You're planning it or whatever. You know, preparing for, you know, fail to prepare. What is it? Preparing. I can't even. I'm doing a George Bush. What's
failure to prepare
is to prepare
to fail. That's it. I did a George Bush, and then like. You know,
I mean, God knows how to go, George.
Someone throw a shoe at me already. Anyway, so that would be my, you know, mechanics or level progression from that. And then atmosphere I take from Silent Hill. So not per se anything in particular, but just the general dread from Silent Hill games. You know, from walking around in that world, from even the foggy world, which is scary enough, and then going into like the hell dimension or whatever. You know, that sort of atmosphere. So
you
like
literally
it could flip on a dime.
You have to force yourself to push on sometimes. It's so creepy. You know that something awful is coming, and you have to go through it anyway.
I'm not usually a big scary game person, especially back when I played it, which I must have been like, what, 15 or something.
I think they crack atmosphere like no other game.
But yeah, the first game, especially, it was so very new back then. It's like, it was scary as shit, but you pushed on because, you know, just how engrossing and atmospheric
your first weapon is a stick.
Yeah.
A stick.
It's alright. That's like a tradition, isn't it? It's like, it's not even a good stick. It's not even like a plank of wood. It is literally like a fucking little bamboo cane that you mess about whipping each other when you're a kid or whatever. It's pathetic. It's kind of good like that. They purposefully make you kind of weak, so you even more, you know, you've got even more dread or whatever.
I never played the games. Well, I tell a lie. I tried to play the games when I was younger. Keep in mind that there's quite a bit of an age difference between like us and stuff. So literally it was like shit scary, so we ended up just taking it back to wherever we rented. But I've seen the movie and it was one of the most like...
The movie's really good for keeping the essence of what that game is.
It makes me very sad how it got
the original one anyway.
And the sequel makes me very sad as well. But
the sequel makes me angry.
Silent Hill movie captures the fear and the...
I didn't see the sequel because I didn't hear good things.
Silent Hill was horrible.
The only thing
the creepiness
that's good to be said about the sequel is that you get a full frontal of Jon Snow.
Is it?
I've just remembered it was Jon Snow.
That's not really for me, but hey.
Well, we're going to have to rewatch that.
It's the only thing that makes it good. I think you see his butt, which is quite nice.
Jon Snow, I forgot he was in that. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Lovely. Okay, so Jon Snow is also the main character of this game. And his butt. He has to wear chapless pants all the time. And it's a third person game, so the camera's back so you can see it like wobbling at all times, right?
Weird.
It's for
wobbling.
you.
He's got a firm tight ass, thank you.
Oh, whatever. How the fuck should I know? Anyway, swiftly moving on. And finally, the art style from BioShock. So it has the aesthetic from the BioShock world, because I think that nails aesthetic even better than Fallout in terms of like sort of weird retro futuristic sort of cool. You know, I think that it's creepy as well as, you know, like Jetsonified, if you will, or whatever. So I think that's the thing to go. So yeah, if you guys want to, like, if you've got any ideas, pieces you swap out, or, you know, anything you want to, you know, talk about specifically.
It's hard because you fit it into categories a little bit.
Yeah.
But you can make up your own category if there's one you feel I've missed.
You know. I don't know. I just have to pick some things at random a little bit, I think.
It's quite hard to contend with because you've thought it out. I hate saying it, you've done quite a good job.
Yeah. But you could go like character. What sort of character would you like? Dude, a chick? Do you want it to be, you know, Dante or like Cloud?
It'd have to be a zombie game for me. because I'm all for the zombies.
Yeah. I
Or
didn't really specify the
in,
enemy, really, did I? But yeah.
it's some form of zombie or like supernatural evil thing. There's got to be something.
I
like
don't
that.
think per se it needs to be like a zombie or something mystical like that. Even if you take like Bioshock, it's like they're just humans that have gone all fucked up and wrong. They've gone a bit dystopian.
Nah.
So just something that's kind of dark. Like
Bioshock, I've not played 1, but 2 is excellent. They're called splicers. And basically, you can go to a booth, you can go to like a machine on the street, and you can change out genes that you don't like.
Yeah.
You can remake your DNA.
Yeah, but you kind of become like a crackhead and everything starts going a bit.
Yeah, you want
up.
more and more, and yeah. They're cool,
I've played 1 and 3, so I have not played 2. I recently bought it in the Steam sale, so one day I'll get around to that as well. So
Bioshock is really good. I never thought I'd like it, and I did a lot.
Yeah, it's a cool game. I mean, the gameplay is like it's very linear in a sense, but the world is like amazing. If they ever make an open world Bioshock, you know, that's something I'm going to jizz my pants over. So you know, that's good shit.
I would say I've not got to fit it into a particular category. It's a kind of like games that had a big impact on you. One that I enjoyed that surprised me was Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh yeah.
It is kind of empty. It's a weird game. You've got a big empty open world.
Yeah.
And you've got however many Colossuses roaming about. Now you get on your horse and you blaze and you look for one and you scout the area and you look for weaknesses and you try and work it out. It's a very simple concept, but I enjoyed the crap out of that game.
And then you've got to scale
and when
these
you
fucking
see
massive
this
titans.
giant thing on the horizon and you're a little weedy bloke.
Yeah. So like a sense of scale you would add, like to something to be in awe of or whatever. It's kind of a similar sort of aspect. If no one's played that game too, I suppose Kratos and Dante, they sometimes fight like ridiculously massive creatures, but perhaps in a more methodical sense you would combat them as opposed to.
It's almost a realistic sense of strategy because you can't rush in. You've literally got to like scope it out, and it's almost like Hitman in a way, but huge.
Yeah.
And they're beautiful and terrifying when you first see them, and you think, how on earth? You really have to think it out and climb up like structures around it and work out a plan. Very good.
Yeah. It's like I think it's cool to put a sense of scale in. It's just sometimes it's difficult to make that work in gameplay things. And it's a similar thing with zombies and stuff. Like, I don't know what I'd do. I'd probably want something a bit like mystical or whatever, but zombies are so tired now. Really, aren't they?
I agree with that.
As soon as something
there'd have to be some
popular,
it's like
it's done to death. Like
I love zombie
I'm
stuff, but
sick to death of superheroes.
yeah, same thing
God,
there.
give me
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah.
I was really impressed, to be honest, that when I played Until Dawn, have you played that? You've played that now, haven't you?
I've not completed it. I've not played much.
Okay then.
It's very clever. It's another story-driven one,
clever.
isn't it?
It is. It's so cinematic.
It's clever because you've got two plots unfolding at the same time.
Massively.
Yeah.
And they all kind of interloop together and everything. But what got me was the fact that, like, you think you're safe, you think you figured it all out, you think you know what's happening, and then they completely change it. And yeah, there is another enemy, so to speak, but it's something that you would never expect, never, at all.
Okay.
And the only reason that I knew even what this thing was, or
don't
what the
tell
enemy
me,
was.
'cause that does
I'm
sound
not going to.
interesting.
It's because I've seen it from somewhere else. If I hadn't seen it from somewhere else, I wouldn't have a clue. It's like a completely. I've never seen another game about it.
Curveball.
Yeah.
When you think, as soon as you think you know what's going down.
That's
yeah.
interesting.
So that's what I really appreciate about that game.
Maybe I'll push through with that game a bit.
They
more.
haven't got. Yeah, they haven't got. Definitely do. But they haven't gone down the same stereotypical line as everything else. You know what I mean? Not. They've done really well with that.
Yeah, that's
So,
cool. So like a
even if it's
Good for
curveball.
story, definitely.
Massive.
You
Double
put
curveball.
you put a
Double curveball.
You put a curveball in your ultimate game. Then is that what you go?
Yeah. But not even. I'd put a double on it.
fantastic.
I think that's good as
they
well, because
do it
Bioshock
twice.
3, it doesn't have a curveball. It's kind of, you can feel it winding it up through the entire game, but the way it's sort of done, and like it's kind of blows your mind, even though it's kind of a little bit cliche. It's like, I really like how
There's a few surprises.
how they
in the
unified
end
that.
of most of
the
them, certainly
series and
2 and
stuff.
3 that I've played.
Yeah, they all kind of do it
There's
to a
some
degree.
surprises.
3, that's
There's
the
a
one I'm talking
twist.
about. 3, it's like, I like how it suddenly unifies all the games as well in a weird sort of way, which is kind of cool, without trying to be too spoilery. So, but yeah, but still, it's been like 4 years or something, 5 years. Go play the fucking game already. But yeah, so I think curveball's good. I like moments of awe. I think a lot of games miss that, like something that just really makes you go, what the fuck, and blows your mind for a second. I think that's something that definitely should be.
Some try to throw it all at you at the beginning and save nothing for later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. A sneaky little slow stealth wind up is what you need, and then boom, hit you with it. You know, once everything, like, you know, cue
That's
it
what I
all
loved
up
about it,
properly.
because it does it twice. Like, you think that's what's happening then. Like, it finally makes sense, and then like there's a completely like another.
That's
huge...
such a horror movie trope in a way, though, isn't it? It's like, oh, you think this is it, but actually it's this. That's, you know, it's very horror movie-esque. I'll tell you something
But
that's
it's
gonna.
done well enough. You say that, but it's done well enough that you think that what
Yeah.
you're getting at is the main story.
Yeah,
It's done cleverly.
you're never
What-
safe.
What's gonna sadden you guys about this is I heard news that the Ready Dawn. No, that's not them. They did Order 1886. Anyway, the people who developed the original Until Dawn isn't going to be doing a sequel right now anyway. So the upshot of that is, though, it's owned by Sony, so they could give it to one of their other developers to do. But the same development team aren't making one.
It
apparently.
was a good game. It could have done with, in my opinion, being a bit cheaper because it doesn't have loads of replay value.
Well, it does
Yeah,
have
it
loads of replay value. It's just that it's very short and samey, yeah. So, but yeah, it's I think that we'll see another one sometime soon, but I don't think it's going to be from the same developer. But still, you know, better give that a go and maybe see if someone can do something decent with it, because I think there is a franchise there, you know, just waiting to happen. So
It's like them. Like, I remember them books as a kid. You know, where like
choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to love
Kinda
that,
like that.
but I always used to cheat.
Yeah, always.
If I died, I'd just go and see what was on the other page.
Yeah,
that
you
I
give
could've-
yourself a mulligan and just carry on, wouldn't you? So, yeah, that's cool. I think we've come up with then. Well, this is more what my ultimate game is, with a little touch from each of you. But yeah, I think if with this game happened that we're talking about, it'd be the fucking best game ever. So, you know,
Yeah.
I reckon. Yeah, or at least one of them. It'd be a masterpiece, but you know. Anywho. Wow, that's this month's Recon Cast done and dusted. I hope you enjoyed our shenanigans and tomfoolery, and don't forget to join in with our nonsense by posting your ideas for future topics in the comments. And as well as a name check, your topic could feature in an upcoming episode. Anywho, if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more BS of a similar nature. Thank you, and goodbye.